My name's Jess Ayres. I'm a researcher with the Climate Change Group at the International Institute for Environment and Development, and I'm talking about a briefing paper that I recently finished with co-authors Simon Anderson, also with the Climate Change Group at IIED, and Fatima Denton, who heads up the Climate Change Adaptation in Africa programme, which this briefing focuses on. The briefing is about how to make African research around climate change adaptation more visible. We all know that we need to respond to climate change adaptation, and one of the most vulnerable continents in the world is Africa. In order to respond to the adaptation challenge, we need to make better decisions about what kinds of investments we make. But in order to make better decisions, we look to evidence about what works and what doesn't. And when we're looking for evidence, we tend to look to the scientific arena and largely peer-reviewed literature. However, the adaptation science community tends to focus on adaptation theory, and it looks at how you respond to climate change impacts. What's lacking in the adaptation science arena is good, credible information about what works on the ground. There's very little on adaptation in practice in developing countries and how it can more effectively be supported. There's a huge wealth of information on adaptation in practice being generated on the ground in Africa through programmes such as the Climate Change Adaptation in Africa programme, which has spent the last 5 years supporting African researchers to undertake action research with communities on the ground to look at what good adaptation is and how it can better be supported. This programme is not alone. Good information on adaptation is being generated across the developing world by communities who have to face the climate challenge every day. However, this information is not making it into the scientific arena, and it needs to be supported to be made more visible so that we can improve our decision making. There are two ways of doing this. The first one is improving investment in research infrastructure in developing countries, so that developing country researchers and scientists have better access to promoting their work and getting it into the scientific community. The second one is we need more systematic ways of assessing the kinds of evidence that are being generated on the ground so that we can see what credible evidence is and we can use it to inform better adaptation decision making.